To Zyori interviews Richard Campbell. Some Campbell on Campbell action. I've been wanting to get back into some interview content now that Trent has commandeered the Trent and Zyori podcast. It's mostly just the two of us. I don't get the opportunity to bring guests in nearly as often. So I'm excited here, diving in. This is actually the first time that Richard and I have met, talked, engaged on anything other than Twitter and kind of hearsay on Discord. So it's an absolute pleasure, man. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, this is like, don't be confused by this, man. We definitely are related. We're definitely blood relatives, but we haven't spoken in a while. That's the truth. But yeah, I'm doing well. It's that time of the year where it's kind of it's just exciting to be involved in gaming. Like there's a bunch of good stuff coming out. It's that time of the year for Dota. Just everything is good in gaming. So I've been having a blast, and it's really beautiful outside, but I don't really go outside anymore.
Yeah, I hear that, man. This Colorado weather has been beautiful, and I've spent most of my time selling sponsors for Midas Mode, playing Underlords, and arranging content like this. So I hear you, man. That's exactly the life that we live. So I want to dive right in, man. The last Starladder Minor, seeing you on the big camera in Kiev, I watched about half that event, and I have to say, man, job well done. I love the style. I love the direct sort of a style that you've got in terms of hosting. The sponsor plugs, top tier, my friend, top tier.
Yeah, I'm all about that. All about selling out, man. That's my greatest joy on the planet. Just pressing ad buttons and just telling people to buy shit. Oh, I love it.
And it's a little bit of a treat to be able to host one of the last minor or majors on the circuit, right? Did that add a little extra flair to this Starladder Minor for you?
Yeah, I think it definitely did. One of the other things is too, for me, I still was working with a bunch of people that I had never worked with before too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's always one of the most exciting things that can really happen. So I know all the production from Starladder very well. So every time I do a Starladder show, there's a level of comfort there that I really enjoy. But I think it was a complete 50-50. I think it was 4 people, if I include myself, that I knew already that were on the minor, and then 4 people that I had never worked with before. So like Nahaz, Kyle, and who else worked the other? Toby. Yeah.
And Tsunami was there as well, I think, right?
Yeah, but those were in the camp of people I didn't know. So it was like Toby, Kyle, and Nahaz I already knew because we had done the major together. And then Sin, Tsunami, Cap, and Blitz I didn't know yet. So that was pretty much how that went down. And that was a lot of fun too. So it's like the end of the year, which is really exciting. And then on top of that, I got to work with 4 people that I had already known of, but had never worked with before. Like the first time that I actually went to a Dota event, like the first live event I went to, Cap and Blitz were casting. Nahaz was on that panel. It was actually Nahaz's first event. So it was kind of cool to finally get to work with them. Actually, at that event, I'll never forget, the Observer actually crashed out, and they were actually taking casters' feeds occasionally. So they were taking Cap's feed at the time. His Observer client crashed. And behind it, going back to Skype, his Skype was just up behind the actual Observer client. And there was just a full-on conversation of him talking to his girlfriend about sexual acts. And I remember watching and just being like, yo, that dude's cool as shit, man. Like that dude, he plays a bunch of dotes and just like gets to smash, man. So I always thought Cap was a cool dude. And let me tell you, he definitely is a total Chad. It was nice finally getting to work with him.
Yeah, dude. Cap's a great guy. I always love it when I get to work events with him. I was just in Vegas at that WSOE event. What was it? I guess the end of last year. It was a lot of fun as well. How do you handle mixing in new talent like that? Is it all the same for you? You're a professional at this point. I found that if I'm working with other people that are also experienced, it's often pretty easy to mesh with other esports talent because we're all kind of on the same wavelength, right? We're all obsessed with video games. We're all workaholics. There's a lot of commonality across the personality type this job appeals to.
Yeah, I'll be completely blunt, and I wouldn't just say this. Dota talent's by far the easiest to work with out of pretty much any esport.
Really?
It's kind of crazy. With a lot of games, the most important thing for me is to I'm really not just saying that. I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm like obviously talking to the Dota community right now. So people would kind of assume that, that's like an easy thing to say, right? It's kind of a cop out, but usually what happens with a lot of other games is people do try to, they almost, I don't want to say that they gatekeep, but there is a level of like, yo, who the fuck is this, right? Even if you're like, I think of some of like the top tier hosts that have done cross game. Like you think of Puckett, you think of Golden Boy, like even those guys to a certain degree. I feel like one of the biggest things is when you're coming into a new community, you instantly have to just put your dick on the table and be like, yo, like I'm here, I'm gonna do this my way. And for me, what that means is I basically go, hey, look, I respect everything that you guys are going to do. I'm going to let you completely do that. And I'm going to make sure that if you ever get stuck, I'm going to say something and I'll make myself look like an idiot if I need to.
Right.
But I'm going to have to sell out occasionally. I'm going to have to say hello. I'm going to have to say goodbye. Once you get that repertoire going, it's usually pretty easy. Dota was the most welcoming community to me ever in my esports career. I think also it was a little bit later for me in my esports career.
Right.
Like it was,
that helps.
Yeah, like I had already, like, you know, I've already done BlizzCon, I've already done Call of Duty World Championship, I've already done this and that. So I think people knew I at least knew how to like say a sentence.
Yeah.
But the community didn't completely castrate me, which I expected and I was kind of excited for. I actually really don't mind that. Like it's actually like one of my favorite things is like having dude, I like trolls. I'm a troll myself.
So you're a proper psycho. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you know, every now and then I'll like see some dude in the comments and like say something and I'll just be like, yo, dude, I'll remember your name, man. I'm gonna troll you forever. Like I got you now. It's like, yeah, you think you're funny, like no scope 420, like fuck my mom. Like I got your name.
Yeah.
Like I do enjoy that to a certain degree, and also it's a challenge, right? But
sure.
Dota was really cool. And also like they gave me a little bit of slack for my first 2 days of the major. And the first 2 days of the major, I think a big part of what was important to me was I needed to feel out everybody. Like I really did need to get a feel for everybody, right? Like I needed to know what people wanted to do, and also I wanted to be like, yo, I'm not going to come in and just completely try to do this my way. Like I'm going to make sure that everybody else feels comfortable.
Yeah, you got to get a feel for the limits, you know where everyone else is at. How comedic is it, right? I find that varies a lot based on who I'm panel with, depending on some people really want to be serious and other people, if you're on a panel with slacks, it's going to be all jokes, you know, no surprise.
Yeah. That's one person I haven't gotten to work with yet that I definitely want to, right? I've only heard very good things about him. A lot of people said we would get along, but
I think you would. I think you would.
Yeah. It seems like good people, man. I like some people. I think like the big thing is I am very much. I let people do what they want to do, but every now and then you have to like kind of be the one as the host where you're like, okay, that's too much. And I think I had a big learning curve with Kyle, and Kyle's literally one of my like best buds now. Like I literally was talking to Kyle earlier today. But Kyle, I gave Kyle too much wiggle room on that panel with Nahaz.
Ooh.
And I started balding in the middle of that panel, man. That was one of the most ridiculous panels I've ever been on in my entire life. Just you cannot let Kyle and Nahaz just go at each other. You just can't do that.
Both of them have that, like, no, I'm definitely right, and I don't want to get aggressive, but I'm not going to back down until you understand why you're wrong. And when they're on opposite sides of it, like, look out, man, that shit'll get explosive.
Oh man, yeah, that definitely was one of the most trying moments of my entire esports career.
Wow,
Kyle and Nahaz, man.
I believe it. It's interesting though that you reference like being able to handle trolls and almost enjoying it, because I feel like that's a quality of Slacks that I have really come to appreciate. And like over my time of working with him, we've sort of developed that skill set. You know, at Moonduck, one of our ethos is, you know, if you're getting flamed on Reddit or anywhere else, there's probably a grain of truth there. There's probably some little nugget of you're saying this too much, or you're using this phrase too often, or you're messing this up consistently, and it's always amplified and blown out of proportion. But the key is to sift through it and try to figure out what is that triggering behavior that I'm doing, because this did start somewhere, right? They're not just hating me for the sake of hating me, at least not most days. But
yeah, well, I totally agree with that. But I think the crazy thing about it is it comes from somewhere, but it can be almost something that's completely unrelated. And
True.
getting
Very
that
true.
skill is really tricky. And also there's like this knowledge of who you are and what perception is going to be of you. Like, look at Kyle, for example, right? Like, even people in chat right now going, Kyle is always wrong, you know, like Kyle, like joking around. I always say to Kyle that that's like one of the most powerful tools that you can have as talent, because Kyle being wrong is a joke, right? Like, people are always going to say it even when he's right now.
Yeah.
Did it come from somewhere? Yeah, like Kyle is a incredibly passionate dude, and he will go from like every now and then he'll have those moments of like being incredibly enthusiastic about one thing to being incredibly enthusiastic about something that maybe has a contrary idea, because he's just so invested into the game. And I think that's what makes him such a fantastic caster. He's one of my favorites to watch. And that brand started, and now it's the best tool ever. Like, but you need to have a hard skin to be able to use that, right?
For sure.
Yeah, and the idea of like, that is a fun thing in the community. Like, that is something that I will always play around with. Like, literally, my mother fucking said, "Shut up, Kyle," and it's one of those things where it's like, that is just good entertainment. Like, that is good entertainment. I literally get in chat and just go, "Kyle was right, Pog," and just watch everybody do like, it's just fun. And I think that if anybody's ever trying to get into esports or just entering a game community where they are in the public eye, I think one of the first things you need to know is sometimes negative criticism is a sign that you're doing something right, and that you're not just being this vanilla, empty face, and that somebody's going like, either I love this or I hate this, but I have something to say about that. And I think that can be a really good thing.
For sure. And sometimes there's a potential swing there too. If you mess something up or there's something that people are rightfully critical of, if you can quickly change that or adapt to the criticism, that can turn that audience dialogue from super negative to super positive very quickly. And then all of a sudden you've got this springboard and this audience that's listening to really show them what you got and prove that, you know, you're up to that standard. No doubt. Agreed with you there. Opportunities are all over the place. To really thrive in this environment, I think you have to be one of those people that can look at any situation and think, okay, what's the opportunity here? How can I turn this into a win? Because you deal with a lot of negatives. You deal with a lot of no's. A lot of events, you get the rejection. You know, you didn't make the cut. You're not good enough. You know, we want this guy. You're too expensive. Yep. So you have to constantly find ways to reinvent yourself, like almost on a daily basis, it feels like.
Yeah, you're gonna get rejected like 30 times for every time that you actually get something, even when you make it. Like, so before, like, it took me a little while to actually get on the call, because I was doing like a few calls before we actually got started, and I was talking to somebody who's literally been hosting for, I want to say 14 years now. It's been at least 12. Like, it's been like a very, very long time. And you know, we were just having a conversation. He's like, yeah, man, like, had a tough beat today, right? Like, and it's one of those things where no matter what happens, no matter how good you get, no matter how many wins you have, you're never going to be completely indestructible. Like, I don't care if you're Ninja. Like, Ninja definitely has bad days.
Nobody's
Ninja's
safe.
Definitely, yeah, right. And I think that to anybody who's looking to get involved in not just even gaming, right? Just doing anything. The quicker that you get used to that, the better. And gaming's probably one of the most brutal places right now, because everything's so volatile and everybody wants to do it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of what you just talked about kind of reminds me of that old saying that's only half true, is that, you know, any press is good press. Like, that idea of just getting your name out there is a good start. And finding out how to leverage that to something positive is really the key. I've definitely thought about that for myself with dreads. You know, having the dreads for so many years was that a net gain or a net negative on my career? If I could A/B test realities and go back and never have the dreads, would we be here right now? Would I be more popular, less popular, or the same? You know, even though the dreads were gimmicky and started holding me back at a certain point, maybe they helped accelerate me to that point because I was memorable. I stood out. And even if it's a subconscious thing, people would sometimes come up to me at after parties or events and say, I've seen you before. I don't know what your name is or what you do, but I've seen you on Twitch, and I know it because you're the only motherfucker that looks like that. Yeah. I think the tricky thing with something like that, because I agree, I think it's a positive, right?
It certainly can be.
Yeah. But the problem is, and this is like a really tricky thing. It's how do you ever not be married to that? Right. Like the second that it
Yes.
happens, it's like, where do you go after you're done with that side of your, and so it's super hard to realize when you're getting too attached to something like that and where to go next. Right. I think even with, like, you know, like the mustache recently has been like a big part of my brand, right? Like
Yeah.
randomly, it's like the same kind of thing. And I shave it like every now and then. Like right now, I don't have it, right? And it's just because like I think it makes it more of a when the mustache does pop up, it can be exciting and it can be something where people
Right.
realize it. But I'm actually scared that like I won't be allowed to not have a mustache if I don't shave it. I actually accidentally shaved it this time. This is actually really embarrassing. I told my stream this, but this is like really embarrassing. And I haven't like said it anywhere else besides my stream. I was watching The Men Who Stare at Goats. Have you ever seen that one?
I have not actually. I know of it. It's a George Clooney movie, right? I haven't actually watched
Yeah.
it.
Speaking of George Clooney, he has a dope mustache in that movie. And I tried to shave my mustache to look like George Clooney's mustache in The Men Who Stare at Goats. And I fucked up so bad that I had to shave it. It wasn't like a conscious, like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to shave my mustache today.
Oh
I tried to
no.
make myself look like George Clooney and fucking scuffed it, dude. It was so, like, it's so embarrassing. And I like told my stream's like, where's mustache? I unsub if no mustache. And I was like, I was watching The Men Who Stare at Goats and I got really inspired by George Clooney and I fucked it all up.
Yep. Nope. I've been there with the sideburns. Oh, I'm just gonna trim this a little bit. Oh, now we got to level out the other side. Oh, that doesn't look right. And before you know it, you're up here and you're like, well, that's definitely not right. I don't know how we got to here, but yikes.
Just no hair. Yeah. Just you end up bald.
No, I hear you, man. Well, are you worried about that with the clothes? That you're going to be tied to like the weird clothes guy, and that you won't be able to dress normal, even if that's what the bill calls for?
So I've like actually gotten in I want to say trouble, but I've literally had problems with like stuff I've worn in the past with you know, every TO, every tournament organizer, every director, producer, they're going to have different opinions of how the show would work. To me, they're not weird clothes. As funny as it sounds, like I genuinely just wear stuff that I enjoy and stuff that I think is like I never put something on and go like, yo, this one's nuts. Every now and then I think I've looked at something and been like, damn, dude, like this one's actually like this one's maybe a little bit crazy. Like actually I'm trying to think. You know what? I just think I got like the best taste on the face of the planet, man. But I've definitely run into shit with tournament organizers. I don't mind people like assessing the stuff that I wear because I actually do wear pretty normal stuff sometimes to some people, but it's like really fresh. Yeah. So I think people are still appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. That one's a hard one because certain tournament organizers just been like, "What the fuck are you wearing?" Yeah. I'm like, the best shit ever. Well, like, fuck you.
I like that though. I like that you're not thinking about it as a gimmick or trying to be like oddly obtuse with your clothes. You're just thinking like, yo, those are some sick threads. I think I can pull that off. If it's a little weird, it's a little weird, but I still think it matches my style. And it's fairly aligned with the way I approach that stuff. You know, like if I'm going to buy pink shoes, it's because I think those are some hot kicks right there. And I know people are going to be like, damn, those are some wild shoes. But fundamentally, it's because I like them. They fit the image that I'm going for first and foremost. That's like the first foundation of it, right?
Yeah. And I like fucking around too when I have other casters who are like, yo, we want to like look really sick, and being like, yo, like that's sometimes like really fun when you have a whole desk of people that you've worked with for a long time and being like, okay, what if we all wear this today, and actually like syncing up the outfits and being like a cute couple on the desk. I love that. Like that's fun. I think that's the only time when I go, I'm gonna wear this for a reason,
right,
and not just wearing something that looks really sick because I enjoy hanging out with my other casters and doing stuff like that. Like in the WoW scene, we messed around with it a lot because we had all been on the desk together for so long. And my buddy Zico was just like, yo, Rich, like we should go all out today. And I was like, what are you thinking about wearing? And he's like, I'm going to wear pink. And then Supertease was like, I'm going to wear purple. And I'm like, boys, it's a pastel day, right? Like stuff like that's really fun.
I like it.
Yeah. I love doing shit like that. I mean, hey, like that's part of the show, right?
For sure. No, dude, you're absolutely right. And I think that's something that, if you look historically, has been almost criminally neglected in esports productions is zero thought about wardrobe. Not even like, hey, we're all wearing jackets today. You'll see one guy in a button up, sleeves rolled up, one guy in a vest, no tie, one guy in a jacket tie with the little, cocktail napkin in the pocket and everything. It doesn't have to be uniform, but you want to coordinate a little bit so you don't look like Purge is going to his commencement and I'm just rolling out of bed with my sweatpants on. We've definitely had those where Suns fan wants to wear T-shirts and Purge wants to wear his 3-piece suit, and we have to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. I like that you're helping people break out of it, though. I've done some similar. I give people tips. I've been trying to get people in onto the world of tailoring because to me that was an eye opener. The first time I got a suit tailored, I went, whoa. This thing feels good. Like this just improved my confidence by like twofold because I feel trim and slender and like you look good and it fits right and you feel comfortable in your own skin. I've been trying to peer pressure more of my fellow Dota talent to get some of that shit tailored so they look better and feel better, man. Preach.
Kyle's been preaching the same thing. Yeah. I think Kyle got all of his suits done during one of the I don't know which tournament it was, but I think he told me he got, because it definitely wasn't during the major, but he got a bunch of suits in China.
Was that the super major last year? Because I think I was there. I remember he showed up with all these new suits and we were talking about it, and he said that he went to a local place and all of them were like custom made. The turnaround was less than a week. I forget what the numbers were, but it was something absurd. It was like 5 full suits, jacket and pants, 5 custom shirts with his initials on the pocket and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was like $400 USD.
Yeah, it was something like that. Like he basically paid like somewhere in the area of $80 for a full, like each.
And they were
suit.
nice. They were like
really nice,
legit, very beautiful colors. I think his name was even like stitched on the inside for some of them.
Yeah, it is.
I felt like I fucked up. I was like, yo, Men's Warehouse, get the hell out of here.
He wears like a maroon suit. A lot of the time on broadcast. I know that was one of the ones he had custom made in China. Yeah, so he definitely does that. I'm really big on. I actually I think a lot of people probably know, like, have predicted this, but I thrift a lot. Oh. So a lot of my stuff is actually just like thrifted. Also, like I actually go to like so my sister works or used to work in the fashion side of the world.
Okay.
So I used to be able to hit her up and actually get like dropped samples. So I would grab like stuff that, I would get stuff that like clothing companies literally said like, yo, we're not going to make this. Like not enough people are going to buy it.
Reject prototypes, dude. That's so legit.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll wear it. Yeah, that pink suit, the flower one, that shit got dropped. Yeah, they never made that.
Dude, that is so hype for fashion. People say, where can you get that? It's just like, actually, you can't. So sorry.
It was a bad idea. Yeah.
And it's like you're not even being a dick about it. Like that Seinfeld episode where he won't tell him to model the glasses because he doesn't want anybody to copy the glasses. At least in this case, you're like, dude, I would tell you, but genuinely, it was a prototype. I got lucky. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's badass, dude. Fuck.
Now my sister actually, she stopped working in fashion. So some of my connects have fallen through. She's like, she actually works at Genius now. The like the
music, right?
Yeah, like on your phone when it's like panda means, and it's like, whoa, no way. So that's what my sister does now.
That's badass, dude. So can we totally switch gears here after talking about your sister?
Yes,
I want to ask you about the Pornhub debacle, the drama, whatever it was. I caught a clip of that video listening to your sweet, soothing voice on top of the classic Pornhub content you would expect. I was kind of shocked. I saw that headline on Twitter, and I thought it was some sort of a joke or a troll, and I was kind of stunned when I saw the real video. Could you break that down at all? Like, what the fuck was that like, dude? Is that one of those, like, checkbox marked, or one of those, like, holy shit, I don't know if this is good for my brand. I'm on Pornhub now.
I woke up and had actually, I'll start here. I woke up and I had a bunch of messages like, dude, you're in a porn pog. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is the end, man. This is it.
Finally happening.
It's all over. And sure enough, I'm sifting through all these messages. I'm just like, shit. And I get down to Fogged, and Fogged goes, "We're in a porn." And I'm like, okay, what? Like, what happened at the CQ major? And I open up the message from Fogged, and I open up the link, and I just started cracking up. It was actually like so funny. And I tweeted something out about it, and instantly it got turned into like a Deserto article. And I thought it was pretty funny. Like I embraced it. I had a friend though who had been hitting me up literally for a week, maybe even longer. Like, yo, dude, we need to talk. And he's also a streamer. He's somebody that I casted with before. I'm not going to tell his name because he asked me not to, because it's actually pretty funny. But he had been hitting me up, and he's like, dude, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you something really bad. I go, whoa. We keep not syncing up. After the article comes out, he goes, dude, that's what I needed to tell you. And I go, wait, what? He goes, yeah, dude, I was jerking off, and I was on Pornhub, and sure enough, all of a sudden I just fucking hear your voice, and I go, what'd you do? And he goes, I put down my phone. I went to sleep because I haven't jerked off in 2 days. I was actually like just dying, man. I was just absolutely dying. It was like, it was one of these things that is just like so ridiculous. But I will say right now, if the person who made that video is watching, I would love to do a collab project on either of our platforms. I'm a big fan of all your work, and I would love to just, pump out some content together. So we'll see what happens.
What a time to be alive, dude. And that's what I always wonder. Like, do you think the people that uploaded that video are even aware that they created such a ridiculous meme, and that this is like has blown up, and that video has so many views for so many reasons? Or for that reason?
I think they're fully aware because the comments are hilarious.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, the comments are hilarious, and I actually saw the guy like responding. I was actually like literally just reading through the comments one day, and guys, thank you for all the support on Pornhub. I was reading through the comments, and someone was like, yo, dude, I love Dota as well. And the guy who's like literally, it's a video of him having sex with what I assume to be his girlfriend or something like that. I don't know. Who knows, right? Maybe they're just business partners. I don't know. But he was just like, yeah, man, like huge Dota event, like watch every single show. Is like, do you fuck during every single show? I was like, they're really good comments on there. And then I also stream with a guy named Asmongold a lot, and there were a bunch of comments like, when's Asmongold's porn coming out? Like, it's actually just absurd. The comment sections on that porn are top tier.
Yeah, I remember when I had browsed through it, a lot of the comments were taken over by the running water throughout the entire piece as well. That was quite distracting.
Yeah. People, I've never seen people be so conscious of the environment while masturbating. I was actually really impressed by humanity. I think that like that's the next stage of human evolution right there. I was like so proud of everybody in the comments section, just like, hey man, just stopped fapping to let you know there are fish and their lives matter. It's like, hell yeah.
It's true. That really is a +1 for humanity. I was hoping that it might inspire Pornhub to make a play for esports like more seriously. They post so much cool kind of meme content. I feel like they're sort of aligned, but I don't know if it's ever going to work. If we'll ever see a porn company.
They did.
Did they?
Didn't they have a CSGO team?
So there was a U-porn team. And that's true. Pornhub is like a giant. They own like 10 different brands that are all part of like Tube 8 and 8Tube and all that shit. It's all part of the same umbrella.
You know a lot about porn, dude. I respect that.
I know a lot about Pornhub. Less porn in general. Pornhub's a fascinating company. Fun fact, they are based in Montreal, and you will not see any poo-poo porn on Pornhub because poo-poo porn is banned in Montreal. They don't like poop play. That's why you'll see people peeing on each other on Pornhub, but not pooping.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's a Montreal thing, dude. You can thank the French for that.
Well, I've learned something new today. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Team YP is the esports branch of pornography site YouPorn. Yeah. But do they still exist?
I don't think so. I think they ended up bumping into a lot of problems because the tournaments would bar them from entry, and there were some issues about Twitch and like the word porn being in like the title.
2016 is the last results I see. Because I actually remember. So when I first started working at MLG, I was working on some CSGO stuff. I was behind the camera, and I remember like getting a bunch of stuff from like, it was just like straight up like, hey dude, you need to clip out this YouPorn logo and make it look pretty. And I was just like, YouPorn, and went back to photoshopping. So that is actually really interesting, because I know one of the other like kind of not wholesome brands that tried to get into esports was Weed Maps for a while. And I don't know what happened with them, but I remember they were really trying to get
Summit, I think, didn't they?
I think that they, because I actually remember this is like way back. They had hit me up to do something with either Smash, and they were thinking about some other stuff, and I actually said no. Like that was that was the line for me. It wasn't like, so I actually don't smoke or anything like that. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like the most wholesome personality at all. I've never like tried to be, but it's one of those things where like the same way that you talk about like YouPorn not being able to do tournaments and stuff like that. I kind of felt like you can't really do stuff like that. And also I'm not 100% sure like what image that would bring as far as esports is concerned, because like esports is so dominated by actually like younger people.
Yes.
Like a lot more now. And obviously you want to serve like every single audience, but I literally, for example, I was walking down the street today, and a bunch of, I want to say that they were like tops 6, like very young children, walked up to me, and they were like, "You're in phase. Can you tell Tifu I said hi?" And they were just like walking up to me, and there was like about like 6 kids, and there was an adult that was I'm assuming a parent or their teacher or something like that. It was just like, "Yo, what the heck? Like, are you in a gang?" Like super confused. And like little moments like that, you actually do realize that it's not just like a business decision or anything like that. It's like a responsibility decision. The same way, like when you're having sex with somebody, you should turn off the water. Like you probably shouldn't promote stuff when some of the younger kids are watching. And it was never something I thought about when I first started.
Yeah, no, we've been in that same boat. Last Midas Mode, we had a vape sponsor, like vape juice. And that was one of those kind of like, are we cool with this? And we were actually considering working with a production company, and that was a hard stop for them because they had connections with Blizzard, and they didn't want that to kind of somehow daisy chain back to, us representing brands that our other sponsors don't want represented. We did end up going for it, but we definitely thought a lot about it beforehand. For me, like the marijuana sponsor, I mean, I live in Colorado, so pot is very normal here. It's super normalized. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you go to Denver, Boulder, I mean, there's just people smoking joints like cigarettes on the street, and nobody really seems to give a shit as far as I can tell. But we're international, and a lot of other places aren't that down with weed or drugs in general. Southeast Asia, China, Russia, those are some of the big ones. And we do a lot of work in those areas of the world. And I fear the day where I try to go to the Philippines or something to cast an event, and they pull up some YouTube clip of me smoking a joint talking about how awesome weed is. That scares me a little bit. So I'm with you, And
I think the thing is, though, is it's just like, that decision is going to be different for everyone. And I totally understand people that are okay with doing that side of things. I understand people who aren't. I think just knowing who your audience is and being informed about that and making that decision, that's all you have to do. As long as you're actually thinking about it and doing what you think is right, then you're being a good person. And I think that that's important.
That's a simple way to think about it. I like that. Yeah. The first step is just realizing that it's something you need to put thought into, and not just going, money, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for the paycheck. What do you think about betting sponsors while we're on this kind of subject? Obviously, Valve has drawn a pretty hard stance. I would assume Blizzard is probably fairly anti-betting sponsor from what I've seen in their ecosystem.
Yeah. I also like... I don't know, like betting's weird, right? Because that one I actually feel like completely, because it is so normal. Like there are so many shows that happen in Vegas, for example, and they're promoted by the casinos to a certain degree, even if they're not a show that's necessarily like it's not necessarily like you're playing in a poker match or something like that. But I did the H1Z1 Pro League, for example. And the H1Z1 Pro League was completely in a casino. Like it was literally in Caesars, I believe.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was like a year ago, but it was like in Caesars. So to a certain degree, was I promoting gambling? Like that was the thing, though. I didn't feel like I was.
Yeah.
I said like, yeah, I'm at Caesars, but I didn't really think that it was gambling. I think that a lot of the weird stuff with gambling happened because of shady stuff
Yes.
in gambling, right? Like I was never a part of that, but if I was Valve, I definitely wouldn't want to do anything with gambling. If I was Blizzard, I probably wouldn't want to either. I also think loot boxes bring up a lot of weird questions.
For sure.
And and I get why it's such a hot topic, and I think that's one of the things that people are still figuring out.
I mean, that one goes back to the kids thing, because for a lot of gambling
Exactly.
sites, you have to somehow get money on the site to be able to gamble. You have to register an account. Now, most sites, even the shadier ones, still have basic protections. You can't just register an account and start gambling immediately.
Yeah.
So with loot boxes, though, that's a little more difficult. You've got a 10-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid, they want to play Fortnite. If you're a parent, what should your stance be on allowing your kid to play games with loot crates? Are you like, are there enough blockades in place to make sure kids
Does Fortnite
can't just...
still not have loot crates, by the way?
I'm actually not sure. I've actually never played Fortnite, so
I actually think Fortnite is actually really I think they do it the right way.
Okay.
I actually think, unless they change something, I haven't played in a little while. Yeah, but I think it's important to actually bring up Fortnite, because I actually think that they're one of the games that I admire the most with how they do stuff. Like everything costs a certain amount of money, and there's still like a sense of urgency there, because how it works is there's a store, an item pops up, and the item that pops up is like, let's say it's like $20. I don't think that they're that expensive, but let's say like an item's $20. That item will be in the store for like a day, and it's like, yo, if you want to buy this, it might be in the store again, but we're not telling you when. And it's like, oh shit, I gotta buy it.
Yeah.
So there's a level of urgency there, but you know what you're getting. So it's not gambling. They're basically car salesmen. And as a car salesman myself, I can definitely I can support that model, because I think it's a little bit more fair. Get Done, it says they are $20. So yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're getting for that amount of money, which I think is fair. For me, even with like any game with loot boxes, there's something in my brain where if I start getting loot boxes, I'm just like,
yeah.
And I can see the darker side of loot boxes, and I don't ever think that they were. I don't think that I like to think that they weren't made necessarily with the with any negative intentions, but I think that type of thing is exciting for anyone who plays games naturally. I think that, like, we all have a little bit of that in us.
Absolutely.
But pretty easy to see the dark side of them. And I think that games like Fortnite that have been made in modernity tend to have healthier practices tied to them. And I definitely commend Fortnite for it a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I think it really is one of those, like, a couple of bad actors really ruined it for the rest of us in terms of betting sponsors. And loot crates will probably be similar. I would guess the vast majority of games are probably pretty fair with it. And I think, like you said, it wasn't really designed for malice, just in terms of how can we kind of min-max this whole ratio of people buying goods that isn't just this flat price per thing, unlimited supply sort of deal. And I think if you were to, again, able to A/B test realities, and even if it's something simple of we got blind boxes that are the way they are, or blind boxes where 1 in 5 there's some extra prize or this thing's gold, adding that 1 in 5 dice roll probably increases sales way more than that 20% of extra value that you have to put into the boxes. You know what I mean?
And there's always that thing too, where, you know, even as a consumer, if I'm paying $1 more to get, let's say it was $1 more, and it's tough to put where the price point is. If I'm paying $1 more to get the thing that I want than I would without loot boxes, but it genuinely makes it more exciting, is that excitement worth that dollar?
Right. It's that value added concept.
It's hard to answer. Yeah. Because I remember, well, I'm a big card game player, actually. So I have a lot of memories of, you know, ripping open a pack of like Magic the Gathering set and just being like, oh, I got it, right? Like there's something exciting about that. And I think that that's a game that's traditionally done it a lot, and done it in a pretty good way. Like I've played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I played a lot of Pokemon. I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I've played every single card game. I bring up a few of those just so everybody knows that I'm actually a true weeb, and I don't just flaunt that needlessly. But there are some great feelings added around that.
Yeah.
And for Magic the Gathering, I played the game before I had a job, and I would save up my money to go and draft every Friday because that was the most affordable way I could play it. Right? It was like $15, $20. Mm-hmm. Then I played when I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of money, and I very easily could have put together a deck for maybe like $100 to $300 by just buying it online, like buying the cards off of people.
Right.
But I would sometimes just be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not even necessarily going to go for the best deck. I'm going to buy 2 boxes, which is going to cost me $200. I know I'm losing money on it, but I'm going to try to trade all of the cards. And I like that aspect of it. So I do think that there's potential to add value with the loot boxes, but I do think it's a very difficult balance to achieve.
Yeah, no, you described it right, man. That's the dopamine hit. You get that little feeling of like, but the next one. I mean, it's the same reason why this new auto chess TFT Underlords genre is so popular, because you get to roll through different heroes and you get that dopamine hit when you go, okay, I need the Lycan, I need the Lycan, got the Lycan. It's that exact same psychological process that makes you feel so fucking good about yourself for about 10 seconds, and then it just disappears, and that's it.
Sometimes it's longer than 10 seconds.
True,
sometimes, and that's the thing. You're chasing the dragon, dude. You're waiting for the big one, man. You're waiting for your like foil Charizard, right? Like it always goes back to the foil Charizard. But it was Golden Boy. He tweeted something out. I think he tweeted it out yesterday. He's been doing a podcast with a few of the other guys from the Overwatch League.
Okay.
And they were like, yo, Pokemon auto chess, when?
Dude.
That would be so awesome. Like that actually is probably one of the best potential themes. One of the best potential themes for an auto chess game. I actually want to see it happen.
It's totally perfect. Like the concept of them evolving is already built in there. Exactly.
Boom.
Like,
boom.
They already battle. It's already. Holy shit! You're totally right. I think Nintendo missed the buck on that one.
Full credit to Golden Boy for tweeting it out, and he's a pretty influential dude, and I'm pretty sure he tagged Pokemon. If they don't see that and go like, hey, so what's this auto chess mumbo jumbo? They have dropped the ball. I'm actually like pulling up the tweet right now. But yeah, it's actually genius. Like it's actually one of the best things, because like you said, all of the mechanics, like there's no ludonarrative dissonance. It's actually like the perfect contained system.
The lore is there. Yeah. I mean,
it's so good.
That whole concept, though, to just kind of circle back, is the reason why we're still doing betting sponsors at Moonduck, is because our assessment is that gambling is here to stay. People obviously like gambling. It's a global phenomena, independent of culture, happens every corner of the globe. People are going to do it whether we're fucking endorsing it or not. And if people are taking bets on our content, I'd rather promote one of the most reputable ones we can find. That's the name of the game for us now is, okay, who are our best options? Let's go with those guys. Let's go with the guys that we know at least are following a moral code, not taking bets from underage people, and trying to do things by the book, which is more than I could say for some of the betting sponsors we worked with, 3 years ago when Moonduck was just being founded.
I tend to be in like the place with that where it's like, I tend to not like the argument of somebody else is going to do it, right? Because if you really don't like it and you have that mentality of somebody else is going to do it, then I usually go like fight against it. But I totally agree with the idea of being like, we're okay with it, and we're just going to make sure that we sponsor the best one, right? Because that way you're at least not like I use energy drinks all the time. Like I've done a million gajillion energy drink sponsorships, right? And it's just a very common thing in esports, but I've only ever done it after I legitimately have read about it. I've drank it myself, seen how it makes me feel. Like I know that it's healthy, or at least like within the bounds of healthy for an energy drink, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna I am not going to promote paint thinner,
Right.
I'm very big on that, right? Like I refuse to sponsor something that I've absolutely never tried. Or like, I agree. I will not say that energy drinks are healthy, right? That's why I went back and I said that, like, within the bounds of energy drinks, right? And I'll never be like, hey, drink this energy drink, 1 can a day, and it's just going to make sure that you never have a heart attack, right? I will actually look it up and see what's in it and make sure that the stuff that is giving you energy is stuff that is in most energy drinks, and it's a decent competitor. And I think that with any sponsor, people do need to be responsible, and they need to know what they are promoting, because it actually does work. Like, there's a region sponsorships happen, right? Yeah. Like, the amount of times that, like, even little things, like I'll never forget, I actually met somebody who watched my stream and watched a lot of the stuff that I casted, and they came up to me, like, they randomly bumped into me on the street, and they were wearing a pair of shoes, and they said, yo, I actually got these shoes because I heard you talking about them. Like, it wasn't even a sponsorship thing, right? Like, I heard you talking about these shoes. You said that they were super comfortable, and they are. Like, thank you a lot. And it's one of those things where you just look about every single aspect of your life, right? The amount of things that we all try based off of somebody that we trust saying that it's good. Like, the amount of times, like, dude, I went to go to a restaurant because Blitz tells me it's good, right?
Yeah.
Everybody operates off of word of mouth. It's a superhuman thing. Sure. And sponsorships act on that. Like, they act on the human nature of somebody that you trust, word of mouth, all of that. And if you're a human that ever is in a place where you're doing sponsorships, you should actually know the product that you're repping.
No, 100%. I think the point you're getting to is, like, being responsible as talent, understanding that your voice has weight, your listeners are tuned in and they're paying attention, and the shit that you say matters. Like, those specific words, that specific vocabulary, like, maybe not an argument for everything being totally PC, but again, it's understanding that shit matters, that you're being heard, and that you're not just another voice in the crowd. You stand out of the crowd by nature when you're working in broadcasting, so that puts another degree of responsibility on your shoulders to make sure you're not saying goddamn horse shit or giving people advice that's going to get them hurt or injured or anything else negative.
Yeah, and it's also just like a respect for yourself too, right? Like, you only want to be like, there's so many things that go into it. Like, you only want to be tied to things that you're proud of, True. Right? And I think that's a good standard for anyone to hold themselves to.
G2A was the toughest one, though, man. I remember back to the Summit 2 days with Beyond the Summit, and G2A was going hard, and they came in and said, hey, guys, we'll buy the title sponsorship. And we all kind of looked at each other like, man, fuck G2A, but fuck a title sponsorship. That's like the whole tournament budget, man. That's like so much money. And we sort of had this dialogue of, we don't have another alternative here. This is sort of, do we want to make the tournament happen? That's basically the binary choice we're down to. Do we take this money and make the tournament happen, knowing that it's a sponsor we don't like, or do we say, no, sorry, and then roll the dice and, like, maybe actually not have enough money to do this tournament the way we want to?
That was like a really that was actually like the common esports problem at that time, right? Like G2A was like really like a big
one. 2014. I was actually like exactly 5 years ago.
I was that was like right when I first started esports, so I was actually like never really involved in it, but I knew about it. I never had to make any of those decisions, and I will say that was probably one of the hardest ones. Like, I only like they were basically like the codes were acquired in like a not okay manner, right?
Sometimes. So it was it's like a marketplace. So their whole thing is they operate in this gray area market, and because game codes are all digital, there's no cost to transfer or anything. So they're sort of abusing those differences in economies. So if a game comes out for $60 in North America and Europe, publishers realize, like, hey, we created this game, it's already made, it's out there, the IP exists. People in Southeast Asia can't afford $60 for a video game just based on the purchase parity of their currency, so it makes sense to lower the game to match what makes sense for that region for the going rate of video games. So now, I mean, you can region lock a lot of things, and there are some ways around it, but G2A basically profits by that concept, by buying stuff in Southeast Asia and then reselling it in other parts of the world as kind of a gray market. There's probably a little bit more to their business model than that. I'm sure I'm paraphrasing it somewhat poorly, but they also have a marketplace where you can say, hey, I bought this game, or I bought this graphics card, it came with this game code, I don't want the game code, I'm going to sell it. They don't really verify where those codes come from. So if you're a hacker that just ripped off 2,000 codes from some dev that doesn't have great security practices, G2A will let you sell them there, and then afterwards will kind of be like, oh, Yeah, well, that guy uploaded the hacked ones. That's not on us. He's the bad
actually
guy.
yeah. That's kind of metal. I'm actually like turned on by that. I watch One Piece and I'm like I'm like kind of into pirates and shit.
Okay.
So I actually think I think that's not over my line. I think I'm into that.
Well,
Yeah,
so
that's fucking metal, dude.
developers really hated them, and I think the real sketch is all the bullshit they added on top of that. Their G2A Pay, it's sort of like an Apple Pay type knockoff, but I've seen a lot of reports of people saying I cancel this and I'm still getting charged. I'm getting like phantom $1 charges here and there. The random like, oh, your account's been active for 2 years. That's actually a $3 penalty on your account. It's those kind of like really scummy, like get protected with G2A Pay, and then you realize that that's the service that you need protection from. Like,
dude, this is I'm drawing so many One Piece parallels right now.
Take what you can, give nothing back, right? Isn't that the pirate motto?
I'm role playing in my head right now, dude. I'm literally
all right, so what you're saying is when Midas Mode 4 is pirate themed, that we have to invite you by default because you will take it seriously. Is that what I'm hearing?
I honestly, there's this app that I used to have when I worked at Blizzard. I actually need to renew my membership, but it's a language app called Mango. It like teaches you how to speak languages. It's actually a pretty good app, but they have like real languages, but for some reason they have pirate on there, and I took the whole course. I can actually I can legally speak pirate. And
wow.
It's its whole own language.
I bet that's a big seller on your Tinder profile, dude.
Dude, I actually just updated my Tinder profile, and it says I'm gonna run it by you, see what you think.
Okay,
because it didn't work as well as I wanted it to in Ukraine, but I think maybe it was just lost in translation. It says, "Help! I've been cursed by a witch. I am trapped inside of this application, and I cannot be freed unless you go on a date with me."
I can say almost for sure that did not translate to Ukraine. I'm sure they're looking at that like, what is witch? Does he want to date a witch? One of the Starladders, I was talking to a girl there, a local, and Velat was helping me text her in proper like Ukrainian broken English so that she would understand me. Very different than the way I would have communicated. And I can say almost for sure, swing and a miss there, my friend.
Yeah,
might work in the States.
America?
Might work in the States.
America?
I think it could work. I think you're in New York, right? So you've got a big pool. You got to like play the dating app game based on where you are. I think that's a huge part of it that people don't realize. Population really matters. Bigger population, harder it is to stand out. Crazier you got to go with either pictures or bio. So I'm pretty into it for some NYC Tinder action.
I just put the cutie pictures on the profile, just like straight up, just like like a lot of like. But I went big with the bio, So mention you're featured on Pornhub. That's actually not a terrible idea.
How long do you wait to bring up video games after like either the messaging goes back and forth or like the first date? Because like if they ask what you do, surely you have to bring up something gaming related, right? Or do you try to hide it? Do you try to wait until you get a vibe and see what the reaction's going to be?
I don't try to hide it per se, but it's one of those things where when I'm thinking about like somebody that I would want to date, I either want them to really understand gaming or for them to not like it at all. Like I never want to date someone who's just like, like just doesn't get it, but like tries to get it. I don't want fake interest. I actually like the break between somebody just being like, yo, I don't, like it's just your job, right? And being supportive, right? And understanding that it's like a job. And being like, yo, like, did you have a good day at work? Like, is it hard? Or I don't necessarily mind having somebody who understands like some of the struggles that I would have in the industry that maybe has had themselves, right? Like, because it can be hard, like, as well as anyone, when you have some of those tough days when you didn't get a job that you've been working for a really long time, when you go through those time periods where you feel like you are you just booked 1 million gigs. You feel like you're the wealthiest person on the face of the planet. And then you just don't have work for a couple months. And like the highs and the lows that come with it that aren't really easy to navigate. I think having somebody who can understand those would be fantastic. But I also don't mind dating somebody who just does not care about video games at all and keeping them completely separate.
Because that's almost like a form of support on its own, because then when you spend time with that person, you're disconnected from video games and esports. You actually get a vacation from your job and you can just focus on dinner or movies or whatever topical bullshit like you want to do with your girlfriend instead of bitching about, like, I found myself sometimes like, all right, we're 30 minutes into this meal and I've done nothing but complain about esports shit. Yep. Like, that's not possible if she doesn't speak esports.
Yep. Yeah, it's I do like having that break sometimes for that exact reason, because it's so easy to fall into those conversations, even with your friends, right? Because esports is it's kind of isolating in a lot of ways because of the hours you have to work and all these different things. And you know, most of the friends that you really do rely on are going to talk about esports, and then you just find yourself that you never get that break, and all of a sudden you look in the mirror and you're like, I am esports, like, where did I, you know? And it's really easy when it's something that you love as much as all of us love esports too, right? That you just give yourself to it completely. Yeah. So I like that little bit of a break.
All right, very good. So if I'm not mistaken, you have to roll out of here pretty soon. So I think we're gonna wrap this thing up. I did want to dive into some World of Warcraft stuff, but unfortunately we might not have time, so we might have to save that for our part 2 a year from now when we come back and reconvene.
I'm around, dude.
What's next for you, man? What's on the horizon for you esports wise? Any more Dota stuff? You doing some WoW stuff? Other games? Where are you at?
Basically, my plan as of right now, I'm figuring out next year. That's one of the reasons like everything's been so crazy. But my focus is probably streaming. Like I'm definitely going to be full-time streaming. Sweet. Next week, I think July 2nd, I'm going to be flying out to Texas, be staying with a few of my friends, and we're actually going to be making we're going to be making a tournament together. We're going to be doing a World of Warcraft dueling tournament together. It's going to be me, Asmongold, and S-Fun. Yeah, that one's going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Then I have some WoW stuff that I can't announce yet, but every time I say that, like, everybody kind of knows what it is already that I'm going to be doing. And then I'm hoping for more Dota. Like I hope that next year, what my life looks like, and it's hard to say, but I'm hoping that what my life looks like is I'm a full-time streamer. I get offered Dota events. I get to go and host them, and I get to IRL stream while I'm at those events. And I would say yes to absolutely every single Dota event. And then the other thing is I hope that I grab like some convention work here and there, because it's just fun to like actually chill with everybody at those. And then I also hope that I continue to do the World of Warcraft events. And then from there, that would make me happy. It's definitely not an easy thing to do. Also with Dota, it's like, as of right now, I've only worked with Starladder, and I've had a really good relationship with them for a long time. So I think the big test for me is whether or not I end up getting an event that's not a Starladder event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. So I wanted to wrap with just a couple of quick rapid fire questions. You can go one word if you want. Feel free to explain. If you don't want to, one word is fine. WoW Classic. What class you playing?
I'm going to start Mage.
Okay.
Yeah, wait, that was not one word. I could have just said Mage. But yeah, the reason I said I'm going to start Mage is because it's really hard to decide between Horde and Alliance, because I have a lot of friends playing the game.
Same.
Like Fogged actually is just being the biggest. Oh, Fogg's been making me mad, dude.
He wants to go Horde, right? Or is he want to be Alliance?
He's like, oh, I'm going to be an undead rogue, dude. I have my path completely perfected. Dude, Fogged is the biggest nerd ever, man. He actually tilts me off the face of the planet. I love him to death, but that nerd, bro. I'm trying to get him to go Alliance, because that's where the Chads all are. Yeah. And wait, so you're definitely playing?
I'm definitely playing, and I'm planning on Alliance. I'm in that caster Discord group, and it seems like more people are Alliance than Horde.
With Bren?
Yeah, I played Alliance all the way back in vanilla and stuff, so I'm sticking to my roots, dude.
Yeah, that's the reason that I'm doing it too. Let's be honest, the Chads are all in Horde, but let's play together, because I plan on playing with like Brent and all those guys. Those are all good friends of mine. So yeah,
shit. Dude, all right, well, we're already lined up, dude. The network's there.
All right. I'm gonna level my mage first. Yeah, so definitely come along and level with us.
Tight. I'm looking for a priest, but I still haven't decided. Favorite movie all time?
The first thing that popped into my head is Machinist. I don't know why. I love that movie.
That's a great movie, but why you don't hear that?
I don't know why. Favorite all time? I don't know why that popped into my. There we go.
I like you're embracing the rapid fire though. Best TV show ever. Give me a top three if you need
Naruto.
to.
Naruto.
We went for the anime. Okay.
No, okay. So I'm not done The Sopranos yet, and that was like one of the first things that popped into my head.
Okay, that's top
I
tier.
actually just like for some reason just started to watch Sopranos, and the first thing like I just go instantly. Naruto's definitely up there. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's definitely up there. Breaking Bad is definitely up there. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is definitely up there too.
Hey, okay.
Dude, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is so fucking good.
Yeah.
What else? Game of Thrones definitely not on there. What a shit show. Oh, terrible. Terrible. Yo, it was good for 2 seasons too. Everybody who liked that show was a sheep. Absolute sheep. They destroyed everything. If you like Game of Thrones right now and you're in the chat, ew, dude. You're anti. Dude, Supernatural is super good. Supernatural is actually super good.
All right. So put that one on my list.
Man.
I've not watched
Oh,
that.
I can't. Oh, it's
All right.
okay. So here, just a little heads up with Supernatural. It's gonna start off like really good, and then it's gonna become a show that's like literally not written for you, but for some reason it's even better. And there's like really weird sexual undertones that are gonna make you really uncomfortable or really comfortable depending on the person you are.
Okay. That makes me even more excited to check this
Enjoy.
out. All right. So final one, most memorable esports moment. Maybe it could
I
be
was a
that you're
part of or period.
Either or. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that question now. I guess I'd kind of like to hear both. But whichever you've got a better answer for, I suppose.
There's this one moment that I always go back to that just stood out to me because it was like the very beginning of me actually being a part of esports, and it's actually it's the top viewed thing on all of Major League Gaming's channels, which is pretty crazy to say. And it's a moment in Rocket League. So Rocket League was actually the first game that I ever got to work on. I was working behind the camera, and then ultimately I got to host it. And it was one of the first shows I directed, and it was just this crazy moment. And Benson and Chris Puckett were casting it, and it was just like the most beautiful thing I've ever watched. So that's one of my top moments. I'm sorry, this one is definitely not a one-word answer. The other one is definitely James getting fired. That's like my probably one of the most iconic things that's ever happened in the world to me. A lot of people actually asked me like how I got good at them. So my parents, on the day I was born, they locked me in a closet, and it only played Too Good content in the Teletubbies. And that's how and I'm actually only 10 years old. And my entire life up until for 7 years I was locked in a basement, and I only watched James and the Teletubbies, and that's where I learned my personality.
Well, that explains so much.
Yeah. So the truth is finally out as to my origins. But yeah, and then the other really big moment for me was BlizzCon when Sea-Doo won, because I got to call that, and it was like one of the it's a really interesting thing in an esport. The longer that you're a part of it, the more you want everyone to win. And Sea-Doo is like a very I think a lot of people know this, like a very good friend of mine. Like he's one of my best friends. And like I literally was on the phone with him already today. Like he was FaceTiming me, like showing me his son, because his son's like fucking 2 feet tall now. Like it's insane. Oh. And he's like one of my best friends. And watching him finally win at BlizzCon and getting to be a part of it, like I was hysterically crying like while I was calling it. And it was just like, yeah, that was a pretty crazy moment for me.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Dude,
esports are fucking awesome.
Yeah, that one touches so close to home, where it's like someone that you're like personally invested in finally gets that shot. Like, damn. I've become friends with a lot of pro players retroactively, but I don't have any friends that I was friends with and then kind of made that ride up to pro. I can't even imagine that, actually, how intense I'd be watching those games.
Yeah, I mean, like he was I basically met Chuck like right when I started casting, kind of, but he was one of the first dudes that like really like was my friend. Like he came up to me. I'll never forget the first time I ever talked to Sea-Doo. He walked up to me and he said, "Yo, look at this." It was just a picture of his dog's penis. I was like, "Dude, what the fuck?" He has a dog named Blue. It's just a picture of Blue's dick. And ever since then, we've just been like fucking best friends. And you know, no matter what happened with me in casting WoW, Sea-Doo was like a constant for me as a friend and being in the community. And I'm really thankful for him as a friend, and watching him win BlizzCon and then being a part of it as well. Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
That's wild. That's really wild. Man. Yeah. Okay. I always love asking that question because everybody always has such awesome, intimate stories to share of those like really big, hype, memorable moments. But all right, man. Well, I'll let you get out of here. Thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure. I still can't believe this is the first time we've had a conversation, dude. I feel like we could have kept this going for another hour easy.
I can't believe our family didn't let us talk for all these years.
I know.
That mom and dad didn't let the two brothers just hang out and crack a cold one. But yeah, dude, I'm hoping we actually get to meet each other in real life soon and actually get to, just hang out.
Yeah, for sure. Depending on how things shape up for Midas Mode, if you're in town, dude, definitely hit me up. If you're interested in coming out to Denver around those dates, we might be able to make something happen. We should maybe have another conversation about that after this.
Definitely, dude. You know how to hit me up.
All right. I got your deets. Look out. I got his numbers. So, guys, make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. That's Rich W. Campbell. I realized in the Reddit thread I made this morning, I wrote Richard W. Campbell. That is not a Twitter account. It's Rich W. Campbell.
You fucked up my Twitter?
I fucked up your Twitter on Reddit. Not on the stream.
Dead to me, dude. You're dead to me.
It was a tough day on Reddit, man. It was tough. Any other shout-outs or closing thoughts? Any sponsor plugs or podcasts or any shit that you want to promote? Get out there.
Just follow my stream, and I always say if you want to support me, just follow my stream. It's Rich W. Campbell, and if you want to help me get laid, just follow me on Instagram, Rich W. Campbell as well. The ladies really care about that follower count, and I really care about the ladies. So that's about it for me.
Damn, that's the greatest follow incentive ever. I like that. Guys, if you want to help me meet some ladies, this is what you got to do. They're looking at the numbers. I like it. Get out there, boys and girls. Well, this was a pleasure. I will be back with more interview content as I schedule them. But until next time, gang, thanks a lot. We'll get this on YouTube, and we will catch you next time Zyori interviews someone. Okay.